All right, let's dive in. Today we're peeling back the curtain on the really complex world of patent intelligence. We're going to start with a pretty simple problem. How in the world do you find one single idea? And we're going to end with the truly mind-bending question. What happens when a machine is the one doing the inventing? Let's get into it.
Okay, so first things first. Let's just try to wrap our heads around the scale we're dealing with. We are looking at a database with over 178 million patent records. And that number, it's not just big. It represents this massive, constantly growing ocean of human ideas. And our job is to find one specific drop.
And that massive number, it brings us right to the heart of the problem. How does anyone, an inventor, a lawyer, a researcher, find that one critical piece of info? It's like that old saying, searching for a needle in a haystack. Only here, the haystack is made entirely of other needles. That's the challenge we're here to unpack.
So let's start with what I like to call the searcher's dilemma. Because, before we can really appreciate the clever solutions, we've got to understand why finding anything in that ocean of data is so incredibly difficult to begin with.
And here it is. This is the core of the problem. You might go looking for a swimming pool, but the patent attorney who wrote the application probably called it a water-retaining recreational structure. This is what we call patentese. It's a super precise legal language that makes simple keyword searching, well, pretty much useless.
This is exactly why just typing in keywords is a recipe for disaster. You slam right into synonyms. You're searching for mousetrap, but the patent calls it a rodent extermination device. You get these super vague terms, old school words for older tech, and sometimes the language is confusing on purpose. It's all designed to protect the invention, not to help you find it.
So how do the pros fight back against all this chaos? Well, they don't just throw words at the problem. They use logic. They use a very specific set of tools called operators to bring some serious order and precision to their search.
The absolute bedrock of any professional patent search is what's known as Boolean logic. The best way to think of it is like a special grammar for your search bar, using these simple commands to tell the database exactly how you want it to handle your keywords. The three main operators are so simple, but they're incredibly powerful. You've got AND, which narrows things down. It demands both solar and panel. Then you have OR, which broadens your search, finding documents that mention either cancer or oncology. And NOT is all about exclusion, perfect for when you're searching for the animal, the jaguar, not the car.
But believe it or not, it gets even more precise. Professionals use what are called proximity operators, like near, to tell the system that keywords have to show up close to each other. And this is so important. It's how you go from just finding random words to finding actual concepts. It's all about context.
But what if you could just bypass all that tricky language entirely? What if you could just sidestep the whole patentese problem? Well, that brings us to the next big evolution in patent searching, using a system of codes.
This is the Cooperative Patent Classification System, or CPC. Think of it like a universal library catalog, like a Dewey Decimal System for every invention on Earth. The CPC system couldn't care less if you call it a swimming pool or a water-retaining structure. It just classifies the invention based on what it actually does.
And we're not talking about some small niche system here. This is a massive joint effort between the US and European patent offices, and it has over 250,000 incredibly specific categories. That level of detail lets you be surgically precise with your search.
And here's the real strategic advantage. Instead of guessing a dozen different keywords, a professional can just identify the correct CPC code and search for that. Bam! It instantly pulls up every single patent in that specific technical area, no matter what words they use to describe it. It's an absolute game changer.
But even a system as powerful as CPC has its limits. And of course, technology never stands still. The next massive leap forward is the AI revolution, and it is completely rewriting the rules of the game. So here's the fundamental shift. Traditional search is all about matching. You're matching keywords, matching codes. AI-powered search, on the other hand, is all about understanding. It actually gets the concepts, it processes natural human language, and it can even see connections between patents that a person might totally miss. The technology at the heart of this is called semantic search. So instead of just looking for the word car, it understands the whole concept of a car. That means it can find patents talking about autonomous vehicles or driverless transportation, even if the word car is nowhere to be found. It basically solves that whole patentese problem at its root. And the things these modern AI tools can do, honestly, it's just incredible.
We're talking about AI copilots you can literally have a conversation with. Visual search, where you upload a picture to find similar designs. Systems that can understand technical diagrams. They can even learn from your feedback, so they get smarter and more helpful every single time you use them.
So far, we've looked at AI as this amazing tool for finding inventions. But the next frontier is something else entirely. A future that's already starting to happen. What happens when the machine isn't just finding the invention? What happens when it's the inventor?
This quote really sets the stage for a massive shift. The idea that computers could actually overtake us as the main source of new inventions, that's not science fiction anymore. It's now being called a foreseeable reality.
This brings us to this idea of computational invention. Basically, it's the moment when an AI system, all by itself, creates something so new and so useful that if a human had thought of it, it would absolutely qualify for a patent.
And look, this isn't just some theory. It is already happening. Decades ago, we had something called the creativity machine. More recently, a system called the invention machine actually was granted a US patent for a factory process it designed. And today, you have systems like IBM's Watson, which are built for this kind of computational creativity, pumping out millions of new ideas.
And this all leaves us with one final, really provocative question that our legal systems, our whole society, are just now starting to grapple with. If an AI creates an invention, who or what is the inventor? That simple question challenges our entire idea of what creativity and ownership even mean, and it's a puzzle we're all going to be trying to solve for years to come. Thanks for digging into this with me.